Hi guys, this is Rony Velasquez with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, California Properties, and this is the second part training of a two-part training in regards to working with sellers and listings. All right. In the morning class, what I teach the pre-listing appointment. So through the pre-listing appointment, I teach how to convert people, how to create rapport, how to ask the questions, how to pre-qualify the seller, etc., etc. In the afternoon, what we cover is the sales price strategy. We cover the commission structure, we cover the marketing, and we cover the seller's net sheet. All right, so those are the things that we cover. Now, in regards to the marketing, which is a very important part of the training that we have today, the marketing part in itself, it takes about 45 minutes. So there's no way we can do it through this 30-minute video. So what we're going to do is that we have another video for the marketing part for 45 minutes, and you can watch it in our video channel. So look it up, and it's called The Listing Presentation by Rony Velasquez, and you'll find it there, and you can watch that video. It's about 45 minutes long. So for right now, what we're going to do is we're going to focus on everything else that is not the marketing part of the listing appointment. So the listing appointment is divided in several parts. Like I said, the first part is the sales price strategy. How much are you going to sell the property for? Now, in order for you to determine how much a property can sell for, you have to do a comparison market analysis. Now, for the comparison market analysis, I also have another video. It's called the how to create a CMA in 10 minutes or less, and I show you how to create a CMA in 10 minutes or less. I want you to watch that video because at this moment in time, I don't have time to do that video right now. So the next part is this. In regards to the sales price strategy, we're going to have what we say the market analysis. And the market analysis is going to give something like this. It's going to give you a value, right? The first advice that I can give you in regards to giving value or sales price to a potential seller is that you don't focus on one value, because once you focus on one value, no matter what that value looks like, it's going to be in their mind, it's going to be either too high or too low, right? So the first thing that I do, and I mentioned this in the morning class, the first thing that I do is I ask people how much you want for your property, and I want to know what is their mind frame in regards to the property. What are they thinking the property is worth, right? And some people will give me a number. So in this case, some people will say, for example, well, I think my property is worth $565,000, all right? That's important. So with that in mind, what I need to do now is I need to sit down with them. I need to talk to them about the comparables. I need to show them what properties are selling for in the area, right? And then my recommended price. And my recommended price is going to be a range. It's not going to be a single number. It's going to be a range. So in this case, for example, it's going to be a range between $535,000 and $565,000. And I will say, Mr. Seller, I believe the right price for your property lies somewhere between $535,000 and $565,000. How much you would like to put it on the market for? Now, watch this. You have to be careful with this. On your range, you always have to when it comes to the maximum value, you don't want to exceed that amount of money that you don't feel comfortable with. Like if you don't feel you can get, let's say for example, they say, well, we want to get $600,000 for the property, and you don't feel like the property is going to sell for $600,000, then your range should not include $600,000 because you don't feel like it's going to go for $600,000. Because what ends up happening is usually that they pick the higher number. So whenever you give them two numbers, they usually pick up the higher number. Although, I've been corrected a few times because some people do choose very conservatively a lower number than the higher number. But in this case, in most cases, people will choose the higher number. So whenever you bring a price range, make sure that your higher number is not higher than what you feel comfortable selling the property for. Otherwise, you start on the wrong path there. Now, let's say, for example, they say $600,000. Okay. So they say, well, you know what? I understand that you think my property is worth $535 to $565, but I want $600,000 for the property. Now, I oftentimes say, don't take an overpriced listing. Yeah, don't take an overpriced listing because what it's going to do is going to sit on the market and it's not going to sell, and then the sellers are going to be really frustrated with you because the property is not selling and so on and so forth, right? But here's the thing though. I would take an overpriced listing. I would. But I have a condition, and this is the condition. As we're sitting across the table and I'm showing them the comparables, I'm looking at all of the properties, and they say, well, we want $600,000, and I also want to question them on that and say, well, why do you feel your property is worth $600,000? Tell me the reasons. Maybe you do have a valid reason why the property is worth, in your mind, $600,000, or did you appraise the property or something like that? So figure that out first. But then if they say, you know, definitely we want to do $600,000, I would not even argue with them, and I say, okay, great, let me write it down in the agreement. So I'll just pull out the agreement, I'll start writing, and I say, you know, sales price $600,000. But before I go, I will say this to them. Now, Mr. Seller, I understand you want $600,000 for your property. I have absolutely no problem putting the property for $600,000, although I do it under protest because you know that my recommended price is between $535 and $565. So this is what I need to do before I leave. I want to ask you, how long do we wait after we put the property on the market? How long do we wait before we reduce the price, when we're going to have the first price reduction? So how many weeks do we have to wait before we do the first price reduction? Now watch this, guys. I negotiate price reductions at the beginning, at the listing table, before I even walk out of the house. And I'll tell you the reason why. Most trainers will tell you, oh, you know, take the listing, put it on the market, the seller is going to find out it's not selling, and they're going to come to their senses, and they're going to tell you to lower the price, or you're going to go and ask for a price reduction. And there's half a dozen, maybe more than a dozen scripts out there that tell you how to ask for a price reduction after the property's been on the market for 2 months and it's not selling. But here's the problem with that. If you go to a seller after 2 months, the property's been on the market for 2 months and they had showings and the property's not selling, after 2 months, the sellers are already pissed with you. They're already upset because they're saying, you know what, the house is not selling and it's your fault. It's your fault. Although they don't realize that in most cases it's their fault because they're the ones who selected the price. So here's what I like to do. I would like you to do is I would like you to get that price reduction at the listing table. At the listing table. So you say, you know what, I understand that you want to sell the house for $600,000. I got no problem putting the property for $600,000. But if it doesn't sell for $600,000, and obviously we're going to do all the marketing that we promised we're going to do, right? But if the house doesn't sell for $600,000, how long do we wait before we can lower the price? And then ask them for a specific number of weeks. How many weeks do we wait before we lower the price? And then they're all going to say something like this. Well, I think we should wait 2 months. We're going to wait 2 months. Whatever number they give you, you need to split it in half. And then you say, well, no, 2 months is too long. How about a month? And then they're going to say, no, a month is too little, you know. And then you say, well, how about 5 weeks? And then they say, well, 5 weeks, yeah, okay, that's 5 weeks is fine. And what I want you to do is I want to write it down in the contract. And you say, well, the first price reduction will be 5 weeks after we put the property in the market if the property has not sold yet. And then you're going to ask them the second question. The second question goes like this. The second question is, and by how much do we reduce it? By how much we reduce it, right? And then they're going to give you a number. Whatever number they give you, I want you to double that number. Double it immediately. So you say, for example, well, I think the first price reduction should be $10,000. And then you say, well, how about 20? No, 20 is too much. How about 15? Yeah, 15 is fine. Okay, we'll do the first price reduction, $15,000. Now watch this. We're going to reduce the property $15,000 after the first 6 weeks, right? And how about this, Mr. Seller? We will continue marketing the property and hopefully it's going to sell for that price. I got no problem with that, right? But let me ask you this. If the property doesn't sell or it doesn't continue selling, right? How about if we reduce $15,000 every 6 weeks? Would that work for you? And most cases they'll say yes. And then you'll say, okay, great. You know, obviously we hope to sell the property for $600,000 or close to $600,000. But if the property doesn't sell for $600,000, you give me your permission right now to reduce the price $15,000 every 6 weeks until the property is sold. Is that correct? And they say yes. That's the only way I would recommend that you take a listing that is overpriced, is by you negotiating that price reduction during the listing agreement. Once it's put in writing, they cannot back on their word and they complain, you know, why the property is not selling because you already told them that that's the correct price for the property. So that is a sales price strategy that you can utilize. Like I said, there's many trainers out there that teach you how to ask for a price reduction 2 months down the road, but I'm telling you right now from experience, 2 months down the road, they're already upset with you because the property didn't sell and they usually don't want to give you that price reduction, or they usually start thinking about canceling the listing with you and giving it to somebody else, and that doesn't work for you. So be careful when you do that. So sales price strategy that I can show you is negotiate that listing reduction at the listing table. That's what I wanted to mention. Now, let's go to the next part. Let's go to the seller's net sheet. We're going to talk about the seller's net sheet for a little bit. Now, in regards to the seller's net sheet, here, I have created my own seller's net sheet. Now you may ask yourself, why did I create my own seller's net sheet? And I'll tell you the reason why. The reason why is because I utilize some of the net sheets that are available through many different systems. You know, title companies will give you seller's net sheets, or the MLS system will give you seller's net sheet. Even escrow officer will give you seller's net sheet. But what I discovered through many years in this business is that before you have received an offer, you don't even know what the cost of sale is going to be. You can have an idea what the cost of sale is going to be, but you really don't know what the cost of sale is going to be. And I'll tell you the reason why. Because cost of selling a property will vary by many different factors. It will vary by, let's say, the county where the property is located. For example, documentary stamps or transfer tax, as they usually call it. In Orange County, San Bernardino County is $1.50 per thousand. In Los Angeles County is $5.60 per thousand. That makes a big difference, because you're talking about 4 times the amount when it comes to documentary or transfer tax, documentary stamps or transfer tax. Now watch this. Let me give you another one. Home warranty. You don't know what the buyer is going to ask for home warranty. Now, home warranties can range anywhere between $240 on the low side to as much as $950 on the high side. So you don't know what the buyer is going to ask when it comes to home warranty. What about prorated interest? You know that if you have a mortgage on the property, or they have a mortgage on the property, they're going to pay interest to the day that they close that escrow. So it depends on the day of the month that you close escrow, how much interest you're going to pay. Property taxes. Property taxes are prorated to the month that you close escrow. So it matters depending on which month you close escrow is how much money you're going to pay in property taxes. So as you can see, there's many different factors out there that determine what the cost of sale is going to be. And quite honestly, if you're utilizing a certain number, one number for example, it's just not going to work. So what I discovered by doing this for many years is that every time I would do a seller's net sheet, my numbers will come out wrong. And the problem with that is that when you tell a potential seller, you know, Mr. Seller, you're going to net $125,000 out of this property, I promise you this, when they close escrow, they want to check for $125,000 and nothing less than $125,000. And if you bring them a check for $123,000 or $122,000, you're going to have a problem. You're going to have a problem, because what happens is that when you tell somebody you're going to net $125,000, in their mind, they already spent that money. They already know where that money is going to go, all $125,000. And now you're bringing them a check for $122,000, $123,000. They don't like it one bit. And then they're not going to like you. They're going to close the transaction, hopefully, but they're not going to like you, and they're not going to refer you business. And you just lost a client, you just lost a past client, and a referral source for that matter. So be careful when you tell people about the seller's net sheet. So this is what I did. I'm going to give you an example of what I did, and you can duplicate what I have done. What I have done is I created a spreadsheet that shows you all of the cost of sale, and it shows you the minimum amount and the maximum amount. So for example, home warranty, for example, it goes from $240 to as high as $650. You know, and then you have the county transfer tax. You know, you have a formula there for $1.10 and $5.60, and that would recalculate. You know, I'll show you that as an example. That will recalculate here from $715. It will recalculate to $3,640. You see, if it's located in Los Angeles County. So you have all of these factors, and you have prorated interest and property taxes, documentary stamps, and you have lender's beneficiary demand, you have notary fees, you have transaction coordination fees, you have buyer's closing cost fees, etc. So what I have done in my spreadsheet is that I use the minimum cost, what is the minimum amount that is going to be paid for those services, and what is the maximum amount that's going to be paid for that services. So at the end result of this, what I have here is a net sheet that shows me that the seller is going to net anywhere between $245,000 to $252,000, meaning in this case that we have a $7,000 cushion in there where, you know, there's leeway to move either way. And usually that works. Usually their check, which I've been using this spreadsheet for many years now, the check they get out of escrow is usually between those two amounts. And I save myself the trouble, because I tell people, you know, you can net as high as $252,000 or as little as $245,000, depending on the cost of sale. And obviously, when we get an offer, I'm going to be able to tell you realistically, because once you get an offer, any good escrow officer can tell you what the cost is. But as of right now, at the listing table, we don't have yet an offer, so we really don't know how much you're going to net out of the property. We don't even know if you're going to get the price that you wanted for the property to begin with. So what I'm going to do is I want to give you the seller's net sheet so you have an idea of how much money you're going to net. You can plan on that number, you can plan how to use that number, but I want to remind you that once we receive an offer, we're going to have escrow create a seller's net sheet that is going to be more accurate for you, and it's going to tell you exactly what the cost is going to be. So that way you prevent yourself having this bad conversation at the close of escrow where they're getting their check and their check is short $2,000, $3,000, $4,000. I've seen it as high as $6,000, and then that's a conversation you do not want to have with a seller, because that seller is going to be really upset, and if they're upset, you just lost them as a client, and they're not going to refer you in the business. So you got to be careful with this. So seller's net sheet, right? So that's the second part of what we talk about during the class. The next part of what we talk about during the class is commission structure. Commission structure. How we structure the commission. Now, basically, the way we structure the commission here is that our company, Berkshire Hathaway, lists properties for sale, obviously, and it usually happens that you list properties for 6%, and then you split the commission half and half with the other agent. That's usually traditionally what happens. Now, there is no law that says how much money you need to offer the other agent, right? Obviously, you want to do what's right. And if you're getting a 6% commission, obviously you want to split it half and half, because they deserve, the other agent, the cooperating broker, deserves to get paid as much as you get paid, right? But here's the thing though. When it comes to commission structure, I want to be very crystal clear with our clients that our company charges 3% for listing the property. And that 3% includes all of the services that we provide. And you can see the listing presentation, which is going to give you all of the services that we provide, right? And once you go to the listing presentation, you provide, our services are all included into this. I'm going to show you this here. For example, I'm going to go here to this part here, and you can see here that it says our services are all included. All of those services right there. Yard sign, flyer box, open houses, newspaper advertising, broker caravan, cosmetic repair, bridge loan program, staging and interior design consultation, talking house, toll-free number, newspapers, internet exposure, your website, YouTube video, open house program, email flyers, postcards, buyer capture, weekly report, marketing tracking, transaction coordination, the escrow, the title, the lender, the organization of all these people, because there's 16 people involved in selling a property, and we have to organize everybody, make sure everybody does what they're supposed to do on the time that they're supposed to do it. For those services that we provide, all of those services that we provide, we charge 3%. Now the question is, Mr. Seller, how much you want to pay the other broker, the cooperating broker, the broker who may bring a buyer into to buy this property, right? And here's the thing. Let me be very, very candid with you, sir. The way the market is right now, very competitive. Most brokers, cooperating brokers, they want to maximize the amount of money that they make. See, the problem is that a lot of agents in this industry, they don't close a lot of transactions. There's a lot of agents in this industry, and I can't speak for everybody, but a lot of agents in this industry, they only close anywhere between 4 to 6 transactions a year. Now, the perfect buyer for your property, the buyer that is willing to buy it at the right price, with the least amount of troubles in the shortest amount of time, the perfect buyer may be already under contract with that particular agent. And here's the problem for us. If you are going to offer that agent less than what he's expected to pay, that agent will have absolutely no incentive to promote your property, to show your property, to really sell your property, right? And obviously we have no control over that, because they are the ones working with their buyers. We have no control over their buyers. So for the services that we provide, we charge 3%. The question is now, how much do you want to offer the cooperating broker? And I'm here to tell you that the lesser that you offer the cooperating broker, the less incentivized they are about selling your property, and they're really pushing for your property, right? So let me give you an example of that. Now, most people think that obviously cooperating brokers make a lot of money and so on, but you have to consider also the cost of doing business. We have cost of doing business. We own our own businesses, and that means that we have to pay for all the services that we have. We have to pay for licensing fees. We have to pay for board fees. We have to pay for broker fees. We have to pay for assistance fees. We have to pay for electricity and gasoline, and we have to pay for printings and all these things, right? So all of this is a cost for us to run our business. So I oftentimes say that most agents, it's almost 73% of our income goes to pay other people. And that includes the IRS, that includes the broker fees, that includes the overhead that we have, etc., etc. 73% of our income goes to pay for other things, and we only keep about 27% of whatever we make. So watch this, what's going to happen. So let's say, for example, let me give you an example here with this chart. Let's say, for example, that you're paying a broker 4% compensation. A 4% compensation, which is $26,000 on this particular property, they're going to net $7,000. That's how much you're going to take home for them and their families and their kids and pay the bills, etc., etc. If you offer them a 3% commission, they're going to net $5,265. If you offer them 2% compensation, they're going to take home $3,510. And if you offer them 1% compensation, they're only going to net $1,755. And I can honestly tell you that if you offer a broker less than $3,000 in this case, which is 2%, they're probably not going to be really incentivized to sell your property. So what you want to do is you want to incentivize these agents to really work hard to sell your property. So the more money that you offer them, the better it's going to be for you and the higher you can sell your property for. So my suggestion to you is nothing less than 3% for the cooperating broker. So that way it's going to be 3% for us and 3% for the cooperating broker. And that's how commission is structured in our business. So it is totally up to you how much you want to offer, but my suggestion is that you don't go anything less than 3%. Otherwise, we may lose a lot of the market share with those buyers that are currently working with those agents, right? So you know what? This is a way to explain to people how commission structure works, because most people have no idea how commission structure works. They think that they pay you 6% and you get all of the commission. You get to enjoy all of the commission. They don't understand that you have sometimes to pay the cooperating brokers, right? So guys, you need to get this information. You need to relay this information in a very easy, straightforward manner so people understand this. Now, in regards to presentation, listing presentation, I always say this. I say that doing a listing presentation is like acting. Let me give you an example of this, right? I oftentimes use this example. Have you seen the movie Romeo and Juliet with Leonardo DiCaprio? It's a movie that came out many years ago. I absolutely love that movie. Very, very nice movie, right? Leonardo DiCaprio came in that movie, and you will notice through the movie they're speaking Old English, the Old English that they have, right? And you cannot understand anything they're saying. They actually have translations in the bottom or caption in the bottom, so you can understand what they're saying, because you cannot understand what they're talking about, right? So now watch this. When I imagine that when Leonardo DiCaprio was casted to do this movie, the director or the producer came to him and he said, Leonardo, we are going to produce this movie. It's going to be in Old English, and I want you to participate in this movie. He said, yes, I want to do that. And then they say, well, here's the script, and what I want you to do is I want you to learn the script. And then Leonardo DiCaprio came and he learned the script. He memorized the script, he made it his own, and now he has to present it to the people, and now he has to speak and say the things that he needs to say, etc. So this is a learning process that it has to happen for him, because he had to learn the script, he had to learn to speak in Old English, which I'm sure it's very unnatural for him, right? And then he has to present himself in front of the camera, and he has to do this presentation. He has to present himself as Romeo, and he has to convince people that he is Romeo, and convince people of the emotions that brings out being in that movie, right? Listen, when I ask you to go to a listing presentation, this is what I'm saying to you. You're going to go to this listing presentation. Here's the script. Here are the dialogues. Here's the CMA. Here's the seller's net sheet. Here's the commission structure. What you need to do is you need to go out there. You need to memorize this. You need to memorize and internalize it. You need to practice it. You need to make it your own. So when you're presenting in a very easy and concise, straightforward manner. You're not confusing people. And in essence, what I'm asking you to do is I'm asking you to act in the listing presentation. It's an act. No, it's a true act, but it is an act nevertheless. You still have to learn the scripts and dialogues. You still have to learn how to present market valuation, how to present seller's net sheet, how to present commission structure, how to present the marketing, all of that, but it's an act. And here's what I have to say regarding this. The question is how successful you want to be in this business, in the sales business, in real estate business. You will be as successful as you can be depending on how great of an actor you are. because those people who are great actors in this business, you know, the people that learn the scripts and dialogues, they know how to present to people, they know how to close people into making decisions, etc., etc. Those are the people who actually rise to the top. And the rest of the people, the ones that don't want to learn the scripts and dialogues, they don't want to practice them, they don't want to memorize them, they don't want to internalize them, those people are going to have a really, really, really hard time in this business. I know that I keep pushing you to learn the scripts and dialogues, but I know that it's that important. Guys, listen. Been in this business for a long time, and all I know is I know that we have to learn the scripts and dialogues. We have to move forward, you know, from the process of lead generation to the process of closing. Every step of the way, we're closing people into making decisions, moving forward on the decisions, etc., etc. And that only happens if you learn the scripts and dialogues. So learn all of these processes here. Watch the other presentation in regards to marketing, and I promise you, you're going to be really, really successful in this. And in regards to our company, remember, Berkshire Hathaway is a great company. It has a lot of things to offer. Learn about our company. Learn about our branding. Learn about the things that we have to offer in the company. Remember the MAP programs. We have 7 programs that are fantastic that can help home sellers in these situations. We have the cosmetic repair loan program. We have the bridge loan program. We have the guaranteed sale program. We have the trading program. We have the tenant occupied program. And then we have the wealth accumulation program. All of those programs are fantastic. We have training here in our training room every week, and you can come. It's absolutely free. If you want to come to the trainings, just contact Team Rush. I'm sure he's gonna get you an RSVP to come to the trainings. I do trainings myself here for the company. All of these trainings are available live, so you're always welcome to come to the trainings. I hope to see you here. I hope that you get to learn this material. I hope that you get to practice, memorize, internalize it, and making your own. And I hope and I pray that you have a lot of success in this business. I'm gonna be there every step of the way. If you need me for anything, just give me a call, text me, email me, poke me on Facebook, do whatever you need to do to reach me. And I hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.